What's going on, guys? It's Uncle Mike, and today I'm going to share a little bit of what's going on with me because I'm in the midst of learning a lesson, and I feel like there's someone else out there that might benefit from hearing this. So I don't know who you are, but someone out there I think needs to hear this. So a while back, I had a client suggest a book to me. Now, this client is a friend of mine, and he's always wanting to learn, very enthusiastic guy, just curious and likes to dig in. So when he recommends something, I usually pay attention, but he recommended this book. It's called How to Make a Few $Billion by Brad Jacobs. And when he recommended, I heard that title and I was like, I don't know. This just sounds like one of these sleazy, cheesy books. A lot of fluff, some guy who's made a bunch of money, possibly, or says he's made a lot of money, now is going to coach me on how to be a billionaire, how to make a few $1 billion. It's just like so, it's kind of arrogant. It's like, oh yeah, how to make a few bucks. It's like, how to make a few billion. It's easy. I just thought, I don't know if I'm down for this, drop 30 some odd dollars to read a ghost written AI crap book. But because of the quality of the person that recommended it, I thought, you know what, why not? So I bought the book and I knocked it out earlier this year. The book's well written. Jacobs, as far as I can tell, is legit. He's, a serial entrepreneur, has figured out a few things, learned some lessons along the way, and he knows how to kind of figure out an industry, buy in that industry, use his kind of anchor company in that industry to roll up other companies in that industry and become the major player, and then either exit, sell at a profit or keep the company as part of his portfolio. And yeah, he's made a few $1 billion. There's a little bit of new age woo-woo. I'm not recommending the book. Jacobs is like, you're playing all these mind games. Well, it's easy to do when you're Kronos. You've got more money than Kronos. You're sitting up there in Mount Olympus looking down on the mere mortals like you and I. But there was some good stuff in there. And there was one thing that Jacob said that really stuck out to me. It just kind of like leapt off the page. And essentially Jacob said that whereas most people actually think of problems as something to be avoided. Problems come up, you got to skirt them, you got to avoid them, you got to shoot them down, block them, just do whatever you can to not deal with problems because problems are bad. He's like, no. Problems are opportunities, especially in business. When you come up against a problem, do not avoid it. Embrace it, because if you can solve that problem, if you could figure it out, if you can master it and overcome it, you can make a few $1 billion. But it kind of stood out to me. It's like, yeah, that's actually true that every good business is oriented around solving a problem. And when businesses get to a certain point, they can't scale or grow or they're stuck. And if they can kind of look at their problem honestly, embrace it, wrestle it to the ground and overcome it, then they break through and they continue to grow. There have been companies that have pivoted because they faced their problems. They were about to go out of business. Airbnb is one of them. They were struggling and they faced their problems and they kind of figured something out and now they're massive. So I really thought that was a great insight. I wrote some notes through it in my Zettelkasten, in my note box, and it's just been kind of percolating in the back of my mind as like a really insightful nugget. Made it worth the price of admission. Glad I read the book. So there's that. Okay, fast forward to today. And, lately in my consulting business, I've been kind of hitting a wall. For a long time, it's been going phenomenally, embarrassingly well. Been landing lots of business, getting paid well for my thinking. I'm working with people that I love working with. Everything's just going quite nicely. And then lately, for a few weeks, I feel like maybe a month or two, I've had this kind of string of, I don't want to say strikeouts because I think that's too strong, but like frustrating things. Areas where I feel like there's sand in the gears, painful, frustrating, stressful, irritating even. Situations where I feel like I've been wrongly criticized, like, hey, we're not happy with this, or hey, what about that? And I've just been finding myself getting unhappy. Now, whether that's legit or not is not for, it's for a different time. But I've just been frustrated to the point where I was like, you know what? I kind of think I'm getting sick and tired of this. Yeah, the money's great. Yeah, I'm proud of the career I've built. I'm proud of the work that I've done and and really honored by the companies I've been able to work for and the people I've been able to work with. However, maybe this thing's run its course. I'm kind of getting irritated and tired and frustrated, sick of getting on airplanes and sitting in hotel rooms and being away from home. And I'm just kind of going through this whole litany in my head. I sit my wife down and say, I don't know. I think maybe it's time for a change. And she's looking at me like, really? Like, are you sure? Very supportive, but at the same time, kind of like, I don't know. Okay. Tell me more. Anyway, started kicking the tires on some other options. I have been developing other revenue streams, other projects. A lot of you guys know about the new privateer. If you want to learn more, there's a link down in the description. You can join my newsletter. I talk about it in that newsletter from time to time, email free newsletter. But I've got other things going on. It's like, maybe it's time to just shift my focus to these other things and hang up my consulting guns, my spurs. And then it kind of dawned on me. I thought, well, hang on a second. Why am I thinking this? And I realized, well, part of the reason I'm thinking this is because I don't like the way I feel right now. And the reason I feel the way I feel is because I'm hitting some headwinds. I've got some problems. Got on the phone with a buddy. His name is Eugene, brilliant guy, does a lot of great direct marketing, just a great friend and advisor, kind of kicks some things around. And he pushed me. He's like, Gastin, you do really well with consulting. You're good at it. You need to kind of go deep and figure out what is it in your business that's bothering you, and you need to solve that problem. Because if you can solve that problem, everything's fine. You don't need to give up consulting. You just need to figure out what the problem is. And that's where I started realizing, well, hang on a second. That reminds me of Brad Jacobs and his comment that the problem is the opportunity. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm trying to run away from my problems. And so I spent some time recently digging through this, and I had, in the shower, actually, an aha moment. And I realized exactly what was going on. I'm not going to get into all the details, but the long and short of it is there was a component missing in my consulting work. I come in, I do this great work, I'm able to research and build context and get insights and build solutions and help implement those solutions, but there was a piece missing. And I had one client in particular that had kind of intuitively put his finger on that, and he was very respectful. He wasn't saying like, oh, you know what you're doing, but he was putting his finger at saying, hey, there's something missing. I feel like there's something missing here. And I was like, what are you talking about? Everything's fine. Just trust me. And I was getting kind of irritated because he was slowing me down. And it wasn't just him. I mean, there was just this series of comments in various contexts that were kind of putting their finger, surfacing this issue that I wasn't really aware of. I was blind to it. And as I was in the shower just the other day, like I had this aha moment, because I was willing to face the problem. I was like, I'd face the problem, and I realized I admitted to myself that, yes, there is a piece missing. I think maybe there's something wrong with me. I hadn't quite figured it out yet. I wasn't quite sure, but I knew that there was something in me that I was not dealing with. There was something missing in my approach. And I needed to figure that out. Was in the shower the other day, and it just came to me. It was just like one of those beautiful moments where you have an insight. And I was like, oh, I know exactly what is missing. Now, here's the really cool thing, and this is why I'm sharing this with you. I've been doing this work for a long time, so I kind of know, like when I latch onto something, I know if I've got some gold. And that aha moment not only illustrated, kind of revealed for me what the actual problem was, the thing that was missing, but I realized if I develop the thing that's missing, I can exponentially grow my consulting work. I can exponentially grow my income and revenue, and I can bring so much more value to the table for my clients and future clients. It opens the doors for me to do work that I've only dreamt of doing in the past. So it's revealed for me a huge opportunity, all because I kind of stopped for a moment and realized I was running away, that there was a problem, and it was trying to be brought to my attention by my clients, by my interactions. And none of these were like these really bad, like, oh, it was a very emotional, upsetting. I got fired, clients yelling at me. Nothing like that. Just like some sand in the gears, irritation, a little stone in the shoe. Just like, this is just making me frustrated. Why doesn't everybody just let me do what I need to do? I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a long time. It's like, hang on a second. So all because I was willing to stop and say, hang on, let me figure out what this problem is. And if I can figure this out, maybe I can solve it. And if I can solve it, maybe I can build something even better. And so now with the insight that I have, it's very clear to me how to go from where I am right now to a place that's even better. It's not a matter of like, now I can get my consulting back on track to the point where no one's going to bug me. I'm just going to get paid to do good work and everyone's happy. No. I think this is opening the doors for me to provide something that's even greater, something more special, something deeper, and something I think more differentiated, harder for other people to do, something that only I can do. And so I just want to encourage you today, if you're sitting in a business and you're struggling, you're frustrated, do what I did, not because I'm such an expert, but because in the last minute I realized, hang on a second, I need to face up and figure out what this problem is. Try to figure out what the problem is. Sometimes you can't solve them. If you're in a bad employee situation, you can't fix everything. Sometimes solving the problem is letting the employee go. If you're the employee and you're really frustrated at your job, you can't necessarily control or fix what your boss and the owners of the business do. You can't change the culture all by yourself. Sometimes fixing the problem is moving on. That's not necessarily avoiding the problem. That's dealing with it. Sitting in a bad situation over and over and over again is avoiding. Running away is avoiding. That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm just going to stuff this. I'm done with it. I'm going to do something else. But if you're sitting in a situation and you think you've got a problem, take Brad Jacobs' advice. Face that problem head on, because problems are opportunities. Guys, I hope this is useful. If you are an entrepreneur or you're interested in entrepreneurship, sign up for my free email newsletter. Link is down in the description below, as I mentioned before. And don't forget this very important thing, that Uncle Mike loves you, each and every one. Glad you guys are here, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.